to Let's Go Joe podcast, where today I have one of the most talented people that I know that I'm interviewing today, and he happens to be my little brother. And I'm going to speak on how talented he is. Like when we were younger, right, he learned how to play the keyboard by himself, no help, the guitar. After I learned how to cut hair, and he got tired of me cutting his hair, he learned how to cut his own hair, and he played 4 sports, and he could sing. That's just speaking on how talented he is. So outside of that, I'm going to let him introduce himself, and hopefully you guys have fun with this one. And if we start arguing, don't get mad. It's my little brother, like my legit blood brother. So if we start arguing, going back and forth, expect it, laugh. It's not a big deal to me or him. We get mad at each other 2 minutes, and then a minute later, we're calm. So with that said, introduce yourself, Charlie.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Charlie Todd, man of God. Used to play college football. I thought that would be my career path, but God had other plans for the better. Currently, creator of the Total Resistance and co-owner of it. It was a one-size-fits-all harness that allowed you to add resistance to your training. Co-owner of TR Fit Clubs, the #1 gym in the country, in the world, and soon to be all over the place. And I think that's about it. Been here for a while. Other than that, thanks for having me on. Long overdue.
What's it like, talk about this a little bit. What was it like growing up and being my little brother?
So if a little backstory, we are a very, very, very competitive family. So we always grew up playing sports, doing certain things. We did a lot of things together, especially when it came down to sports. Me personally, I'm the younger brother, so I kind of looked up. It's funny, we're a year apart in age, but like
a year and 8 months.
Year and 8 months apart in age, but like 3 grades.
I graduated 2004. You graduated. You started when I graduated high school in 2004. You were coming in as a freshman,
which is odd. We never put it in perspective until we was adults. So like that's the crazy part about it. Like I never even thought about it the way it was because technically we only played 1 year together. Football. We should have played like 3 years together, which just blame my mom for that. But growing up in the same household, like I said, it was competitive, but it was a good competitive because Joe was always a lot bigger than me, always a lot like way more mature at the time than I was.
Still am.
Yeah. But it was kind of like a legitimate how you think of big brother, little brother like scenario or situation. It kind of was just like that. So as he aged and his interest became my interest, and outside I did a little bit more things, especially when sports is concerned. But like when it came down to the weight room, he was strong. I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna try to get stronger. Didn't happen, but it helped me in the future because it allowed me to be a little bit better on the sports that I played when it came down to strength.
So let's rewind back 2004. So 2004, I was a senior in high school, and you were coming in as a freshman. And I would never forget, you would come in the gym. As much as you deny this, you did arms. He wanted to do curls all the time. He literally wanted to do curls and chest. That was it, curls and chest. I would deadlift. I would squat. I would do all these different exercises. And he literally would come in and be like, yo,
girls
man.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, he would literally just be like, yo, I'm doing curls. And he would do dips, too. So curls, dips, pull-ups.
Girls don't worry about
I'd say that. Curls, dips, pull-ups, and chest.
A whole lot of chest.
But what made you start taking an interest? Because we never really talked about it. But what made you take an interest in doing other muscle groups outside of the 4 you were doing?
Speed was the main reason. Because obviously for the vanity purposes, like people don't walk around with shorts, especially during that time. We talking about 2004. We was wearing baggy shorts. There wasn't no hoochie daddy shorts at the time. It wasn't that during the time. So we literally wore jeans, had our shirts off. So I literally did whatever I had to do to look good with my shirt off. Did a lot of bench press. Just about every day I walked in the gym, did bench press, did curls. Didn't know what I was doing, but my brother lifts, so I lift, and it was kind of like everybody gauges their strength off a bench and squat, especially guys, usually off a bench. So if at the time I finally got the 135, like the end of my freshman year. So like credit that to doing it just about every day, even though it's obviously a terrible decision, like not the greatest thing to do, but it ended up working out for me. But what made me start doing everything, like when it came to legs, deadlifts, and things of that nature, just one, it was much better for you. It made more sense when it comes down to the lifting side of things. But to go away from that, I played sports, so I wanted to be the fastest on the field. And the only way to do that was have stronger legs and be quicker than the next man next to me. So it just made sense to start doing legs. I didn't start really like taking legs and different other exercises serious until I started considering this to be a profession of mine. But
what difference did you see when you started? Like, so I'll use myself for an example real quick, just for a little quick 2-second example. I'd always seen the benefit of benching, deadlifting, squatting, because it translated on the field. So if you thought you was going to stop me, and this is just me, I mean, high school sports, we so long going, but this is where it originated from. If you thought you was going to stop me coming in doing bench pressing and curls, you had no shot, because I'm deadlifting 300 plus pounds, squatting 300 plus pounds, and benching 300 plus pounds. So I say all that to say that, what made you, did you see a difference when you started doing full body opposed to just you and Devin Steele's arms and legs and things of that nature, your little curls?
Definitely, because once again, like I said, I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't lifting straight for the vanity purposes. I wanted to look good. I liked the way I looked with my shirt off. I was very, very what's it called? Not a pretty boy, but I was my shirt. Every time you see me, my shirt was off. So, with that said, big chest, slim waist, big legs. That's pretty much was the image that I was going for. So with that said, that's literally how I tried to train. And eventually, like, my waist looked a lot slimmer and a lot more trim when I started doing legs. So I kind of fell in love with it because of literally just the way it made me look, not the way any other purposes about that. It was all vanity. I won't even lie to you. But then obviously growing older, you start understanding the health benefits and why it's important to be stronger. But go back to sports, like, kind of go back with one of Joe's coaches was Coach Capel, and he pretty much said to him, like, yo, you're not getting no taller, you ain't getting no that much more bigger, so be the strongest person on the field. So the position I played cornerback. At the time I played quarterback as well. I wasn't getting no taller, so I looked at it from the sports perspective. If I'm going to be on the field, I want to be the fastest, so I'm going to train to be the fastest. But if I'm not the fastest, I'm going to be the strongest. If I'm not the strongest, I'm going to be the smartest. So I worked on, like, I was big on technique when it came out of my position in corner. But on top of that, I don't think there was ever a receiver I went against that I wasn't stronger than. I don't think it was even remotely close. Like I lift at Ball State. I'm at the Ball State University, by the way. I'm in Indiana. Shout out Muncie, Indiana. But I lift with the linemen. Like to this day, like I don't know too many players on the team that was stronger than me. It was like probably at the time maybe 3 or 4 kids on the team that were linemen that were stronger than me. Other than that, like, it just is always how it's been.
What was your proudest moment in high school?
In high school,
when it comes to like weight training and things of that nature, because like you said, bench was a big part of everybody's mindset. So I remember I benched 335 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was in 10th grade.
Getting that in high school.
Yeah, and people was like, wow.
That's
like
crazy.
So that was a proud moment for me, not knowing that I would do way more than that.
So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Like you're doing in the 3s. I was happy to even touch the 2s. Like that was like an achievement for me. So to answer your question, 225 was like me and Devin.
Baby weight.
Was our goal, like, to get the 225. Get the 225. Once we got the 225, it was like, it wasn't like we done. It was like okay, bet, now let's get to X, Y, Z. So obviously y'all know sports and combines and things of that nature. College football in the NFL, they determine everything off of 225. Every test is based off of 225, especially in the bench. They used to do for going into college, they would do 185, but we felt insulted if they told us to do that. Like we wanted to do that.
I forgot they did 2 options, 185 or 225.
185, 225.
I remember that.
So 185. I remember going and they had me do 185. I was hot. I was insulted. Like it just is what it is. Like I'm like, yo, I know I'm a DB. I'm knowing what the rest of these dudes, but let's not get this confused. I'm stronger than all. Until you just said stronger than all these dudes. Like, you kidding me? And it sounds like I said, it is a competitive thing. There's a competitive nature deep down that's always been there. But my junior year, I was repping out 225 fairly easily. I think, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, maybe, yeah, it was more than 10. Because by my senior year going into college, I was doing it for 18. And then my freshman year in college, I was doing it for over 20s. So,
What made you start playing football?
what made me start playing football? Well, obviously our dad, Joe Senior, he played. He was an All-American, and the funny thing was, we rarely heard it from him. Like when we went to, my dad's from Middletown, went to Middletown High, and every time we went out there, it was like we couldn't walk, we couldn't go anywhere. We was getting stopped immediately. Man, yo, you know who your dad is? Your dad with this, your dad with that. We look at each other like, yeah, whatever. But reality is, like, he left his mark in Middletown. Maybe nowhere else, but he left his mark. he left his mark. He left his mark in Middletown, but we looked at that, and like I said, the competitive nature between me and my brothers. Joe was like, he went All-American, I'm gonna do it too. Joe went 2-time All-State junior, senior year. Could have did it 3 times if my mom would have held him back the year like she should have, but it's neither here nor there. I'm right following his footsteps. I went first team All-State my senior year, second team kick return. It just made sense for us to play football because, like I said, we knew it was in our blood. Like, it's in the bloodline. Like, it just like I said, I thought before all of this, before the gyms, before whatever we're doing, I really thought that NFL was it for both of us. Like, not to toot your horn, but Joe, it's kind of, I look at it like Kobe and Shaq. Shaq was the most dominant player you ever see. That's kind of how Joe was. I can't make this up. My freshman year, first game, keep in mind I already seen Joe play 1,000 times. I already knew how dominant he was, but this time is on the sideline. It's a different view. So I'm standing right next to the coach, Coach Brown. Call him Doodoo Brown, bald head, tall, Darryl Brown. Darryl Brown and Joe, like, communicating on the sideline. And usually, like, they give little hand signals, so on and so forth, so that the offense has no clue what's going on. So Brown goes, yeah, run the play. They do whatever the signals. So Joe, being Joe, lines up right up the top of the center, jumps over, like, runs right through, like, borderline untouched. And if he was touched, he just knocked the dude over. Gets a sack. Gets up, laugh, I can't make this up. Joe goes to the side, hey, Brown, go Brown. Brown on the sideline jumping, do it again, do it again, do it again. Like 3 times in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah.
3 times in a row, they did the same exact play, and they couldn't stop it. 3 sacks, start the season off. This is the first game of the season. Start the season off with 3 immediate sacks. Keep in mind, the people that know football, it is very hard to get sacks. People in the season off with maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, that's very, very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. There's no way. I'm
not thinking about it.
I played quarterback. I would have checked the shotgun or something. There's no way I'm letting that happen to me. But it just to show, like, how dominant. But to kind of touch back to my point, he was just dominant, the stronger, bigger, stronger, and quicker than just about everybody. So me, I had to. He says I don't got to work. If you ever hear him talk, he'll make it seem like everything happens.
He doesn't.
Natural for me, but I literally changed the way I worked harder than everybody. When we ran sprints, I made sure I beat everybody, and I made sure I was on top of my game. I was stronger than everybody in my position, faster than everybody in my position. If I wasn't faster, I was stronger than you. I wanted to be the best, so I worked towards it, and I talked trash along the way while I was doing it. And like I said, it was different styles, but it was just funny, but it's just funny to think back and reminisce on sports. And
So let's fast forward a little bit now. So we're gonna keep moving forward. So 2000, what year did you graduate high school?
07.
Why didn't you go straight to like a Penn State or anything of that nature, like some of your peers was? Because to be talented and to have to do the JUCO route and then have to go to Ball State, nothing against Ball State. I mean, it's a good program, but having to go to a program like that where fresh out of high school you could have went to a bunch of schools.
Yeah.
Why did you have to go to Nassau?
Yeah, so I went to Nassau Community College in Long Island, New York. Coming out of high school, my grades were terrible. So what a lot of people don't know, freshman year, I started as a freshman in high school. So I'm giving a little backstory. Started as a freshman in high school on the football team as quarterback. I didn't play DB at this time, so this was a quarterback. I had a strong arm. Ended up taking one of the senior spots. Shout out OJ, Juice Man. But but I ended up taking his spot.
Never will happen to me.
Over time. So and that's not. Keep in mind, OJ was good. Like it's not like I just took a scrub spot. Like I was actually pretty good. So after that, I was extremely big headed. Like freshman coming in, balling, dominating, brother, 2-time All-Stater. I'm literally in position to follow his footsteps, just based off of what was handed to me walking in. After going into my sophomore year, I ended up failing off the football team. So just being a dumb kid, not caring, thinking that everything was going to be handed to me. From there, kind of turned it around, ended up playing my last game of my sophomore season, and just kind of started turning it around from there. But after that, my grades was shot from there on. Was nothing that could change. We can argue that could be a whole nother story on how schools should handle situations like kids like myself. But that's neither here nor there. It was all my fault. I take full responsibility. Failed off. Tried to turn it around. By the time I turned it around, when school started coming and knocking on the door, it was kind of too late for my grades wise. So perfect example. I always tell the story. Michigan State came to see Devin. And anytime, if you understand how Devin Steele was, it was
pretty good.
Yeah, he was a real deal. He was
all right.
defensive end, ranked in the country. Just about every school that you can name is coming to see him. So, which for a guy like me, I was a dog, I was a baller. That's a perfect situation for me. So how recruiting works, especially in Delaware at the time, we wasn't getting big schools. It's just as simple as that. They had other states that they could look for. It's a numbers game. They're going to go to the best rather than chasing and looking for lower level kids. So in Delaware was considered a lower level kid at the time. We wasn't getting the recruits that we was then. So Devin was bringing them. Every school that came, I cannot make this up. Every school that came, first thing they said, do we have a kid that he can come? So what they would do is they would package the kids so for whoever they wanted. So Devin in this case they wanted Devin. So they would take somebody else who would have it more likely. So giving me a scholarship would guarantee that Devin will come. So that's what the idea behind it was. So we had the Ohio States talking to me, the Penn States talking to me where he ended up going. But Michigan State, I'll never forget this. My coach, Coach Ritter, walking down the hallway, and he looks over at me as he's walking with the Michigan State coaches. And he looks over at me, goes, like, just makes eye contact and just starts shaking the head and keeps walking past me. And I'm like done, like, yo, I already know he's going to say something crazy. I already kind of got an idea because he already gave me the gist before. So fast forward, went up to his class. I was like, yeah, Ritter, what's going on? He was like, I was like, why you give me that? Why you side-eye me? He was like, yeah, man, I was Michigan State. I said, yeah, what happened? He was like, man, they saw your film. I was like, okay, all right. He was like, man, they saw all your plays, and he's running down, breaking it, and selling it, man. They saw this. That he was like, when they watched this, because he has a computer right when you walked in. He was like, man, they saw this play. I was like, yeah, we got to take this kid. I was like, yeah, oh, that's what's up. What you say to him? He like, I showed him your transcript. He said they can't do nothing with you. Like, get your ass together, get your stuff together, and like a kid like any other kid, I felt like they would kind of be devastated. Obviously, I was pissed. Obviously, I was mad at myself because, like I said, I was the only one to blame. That's what made me go, all right, I'm not going to a D3 school. I know the type of kid I am. That kind of motivated me to, like, get my stuff really back together. So
how'd you end up in Nassau?
Yeah, so typically a kid in that situation would just go to a Division III school, a lower level school, without because pretty much that's what you had, that's what you get. But for a guy like me, I knew who I was. I knew I was stronger. I knew I was faster. I knew I was better. So it was either Valley Forge or prep school, or it was Lackawanna or Nassau, or really any junior college. For that matter, I ended up sending my film out to, I think, 5 or 6 junior colleges immediately. When I say you would think I was the number one recruit in the country, all of them, I sent them to them, and they blowing my phone up left and right, like just nonstop. And it ended up being what I wanted from the Division I side of things, like the recruiting aspect, ended up coming from a junior college, which obviously that's an affirmation for me. It made me realize, like, okay, maybe I am pretty good. So after the whole trial and going through trying to talk through all the recruits end up choosing Nassau and end up working out.
What happened at Nassau? Because like Nassau, you did well there, but what got you to Ball State? Because people don't understand resilience. People don't understand resilience because like JUCOs, they're a great option for people that don't qualify for college, but at the same time, you got to kind of sell yourself also. So, what happened at Nassau?
So, and yeah, this is funny. So to kind of touch on my time at Nassau, one, you got to understand you're not just going against like the because kind of let me rewind. Kids think, okay, my grades were messed up, I'm just going to go a junior college route, and that'll just solve every issue. That's not the case. You're still dealing with the politics of once you get out of high school, it's not about who's the best. It's not about who's every kid for the most part can do the exact same thing in these coaches' eyes, especially depending on who your coach ends up being. So if I'm a coach in my position, and I've been recruiting this kid since like day one, I knew they was coming here. But I got another kid that another coach recruited, and he's better. The person that the position coach recruited is going to get that first shot. So I had to deal with that. So my Coach G, shout out Coach G, love the dude, still talk to him today. He recruited me. He's a wide receiver coach, but Coach Mack was a defensive back coach who already had his guys in his mind. All the DBs, when I say all of them, I mean all the DBs knew when I got on that field that it wasn't even close. And I'm not trying to be funny. Like I said, I'm not trying to keep tooting my own horn. But everybody knew I was a guy like that should have been started. When we first got in there, like there was a position open, I was going there to play safety. There was a corner spot open. I walked up to the corner spot. They was terrified. Like they already knew. Like it wasn't even a question. After we did all our drills, we did all our sprint, we did that. They knew who should be starting. That wasn't the case for Coach Mack. He wasn't a believer yet. So I could have easily been mad and ran off and transferred or did the whole 9 yards. My freshman year, I think I only started as the dime and punt and kick return because I found my way on the field. I played a lot. I played to the point that you would have thought I was a starter. We played nickel and dime so often, and it made sense for me. I'm border, like I said, I'm strong. So that's the dime position. Is like a outside linebacker. So I'm pretty much on the field all day because I can cover and I can hit. And then you got DBs on the field that should not be on the field over me, but that's neither here nor there. So I had to overcome that. So how I did that, how I overcame that to get the starting spot for the following year, so I could secure getting a chance to get to a Division I spot. Coach Mack, who was a DB coach at the time, he coached track as well. So the guy he had over me, a friend of mine too as well today, I still talk to him today. The guy he had over me, name was Norman, and he just loved Norman to death. So he thought Norman was the best thing since sliced bread. So Norman knew Norman knew that's my guy. Neither here nor there. He knew how good I was. He knew the deal. So long story short, we ran track. I went out to the track tryouts and I smoked, embarrassed everybody, just burned. It was like Usain Bolt racing in the Olympics. That's how bad I beat everybody. After that, Coach Mack runs up to me. I quit on the spot. I had no intention on running track. I literally quit on the spot. I never start. And my dad would snap if he probably heard this story. But I never start and stop a sport. I literally only went out there to prove that I was faster than every single person there. Keep in mind, I worked at the gym. I was going to the gym. I was lifting every day, doing everything and training for the sport. So I was making sure I was in shape, ready for the next season. I beat everybody, had to prove that to Coach Mack so he could see it, and smoked everybody, embarrassed everybody. After that following year, it was never a question if I was how good I was in his eye, because he based everything around speed. And but long story short, that's what got me on the field to secure my position on the field, because there was no question. Like it was a bunch of DBs that was on the track team, and I literally embarrassed and smoked all of them. It looked like my nickname in Nassau was 4 flat, because it was a joke, but I was that fast. But not to get long-winded, but long story short, that's what got me to get the starting spot. From the starting spot, it was after that, it was just like I said, all you gotta do is get me on the field, kind of like my freshman year. I'm taking the spot. Like all you gotta do is get me on the field. Everything else gonna show. End up getting a scholarship to Ball State, but that was even
How'd you get the scholarship?
yeah. So that was even a whole nother story. It was on its own. So after every game, I made sure I got my own film. Learning from high school, your film is gonna get you there. So junior college, how junior college works, every week after each game, I figured out that the coaches were coming to recruit because they could literally take you in spring ball after junior college. If you graduate on time, they can take you from the spring and bring you right in on the springtime, which is ideal for most colleges if they're taking a junior college kid because you already got the experience and you can come in right away and be an impact on the team. So I understood that. So after every game, I made sure I got the film, I downloaded it on my computer, and I edited my highlights. So by the end of the year, my highlight tape was ready. So I'm sending out after every week highlights to each coach every week. I still got the emails to prove it. Like it's crazy because my spelling was bad, everything was off, but I just wrote down my stats. And during that time, it was just straight emails. All the coaches' emails was on the website. So I sent out my emails to everyone in the Big Ten, every school in Big East, every school, I was just going from conference to conference every week and probably sent out hundreds of emails. Ended up getting out to the MAC conference, and that fell through, but that's a story for another day. But long story short, ended up getting a hold of Ball State, sent my highlight tape to Daryl Dixon, to this day one of the best guys that I've ever encountered. My coach taught me everything I know at the DB position, and after that, that's how I got my scholarship.
Talk about Ball State. How'd you do there? Athletically, how did you do at Ball State?
Athletically, I was pretty good. My junior year, I had 80 tackles. My junior year, 80 tackles, punt return for a touchdown, played nickel and dime, punt return, kick return. Had a pretty good season. We wasn't that great on our season.
It was trash.
Yeah, we was trash. We just never put it together. We had a bunch of never mind. But I did pretty well for myself individually, but I did have it kind of, not to get sidetracked, but I guess it's kind of a point I think you'll probably bring up anyway. So with Ball State, I've never played on a losing team ever up until Ball State. Never played on a losing team up until Ball State ever. So it's funny how when I got there, it was like I made it type of feel. You know what I mean? Like we talk about that. We talk about this all the time when people get sidetracked in business. They'll end up starting and saying they want to do this, but then when they get a little bit of it, they see that as the end result and get complacent and stay there and end up getting stuck there because the money's good, the things of that nature. Something ends up blocking the need for continuous work. So that was the situation. So when I got the Ball State, keep in mind my goal the whole time is to make it to the NFL. I got the Ball State. That was like I made it. Like I didn't drink up until that point. I never drank. I never smoked. Joe was my witness. I never drank, never smoked. Shoot, barely cursed up until that point. And when I got to Ball State, I started partying. I started doing stuff that you would never see me do. Like just the reality of it. It was like I made it type of scenario. I made it type of situation. I got used to losing. I've never, keep in mind, I've never lost, never been on a losing team in my life. But when I got to Ball State, it was just the environment was just immune to losing, and we was all cool with it. To this day, I still don't understand it. Knowing who I am, that's still mind blowing to me that I allowed that situation to happen and being the leader, and rather than stepping up and being the guy and be like, yo, this ain't happening. But it's funny that I bring that up to say this. And dude named Dan Gerberry, he played the year prior to me getting there. I didn't even know the guy. He played the year prior to me getting there, and he ended up getting a deal with the Lions, ended up playing for the Lions for a little bit. But he came, it was a day off or whatever it may have. He ended up coming to when we played Eastern Michigan. He's literally sitting there on the sideline. Keep in mind, Eastern Michigan at the time, the worst team in the country. Like it literally, the 1 to 100, whatever that number is, they were literally the worst team in the country. And we're going neck and neck the entire game with this team. Keep in mind, like I said, we're having a losing season. We're getting used to losing. It's a comfort thing at this time. Like there's no punishment for losing, so it is what it is. And I'll never forget this. It was a snap. We drove all the way down the field, and the center snapped the ball over the quarterback's head. Quarterback run backs, grabs the ball and drops on the ball and jumps on it. And I'm laughing about it on the sideline, like really like making jokes. And Dan Gerber, I never forget this. He like tapped me and like, yo, you find that funny? Like yo, y'all are having a losing season. Y'all just made a drive to get all the way in position to win this game. And you're laughing about a turn, like what could have been a turnover to stop y'all from getting a touchdown. And instantly right there, I like clicked in my head like, yo, what am I doing? Like I've never been like this. I've never been like this. So my point is, it's important to have the right people around you and the right people in your circle, because if the wrong people in your circle, you'll literally just go with the flow on everything. But if you have people like that are willing to challenge you, Joe challenges me every day. When I say every day, I mean every day. There's never a day I could be doing something and he'll literally walk up to me, yo, what's taking so long? And I'll be like, yo, calm down. But my point is, if your people in your circle is around you are not there like that, challenging you and pushing you to be great, change it. Get rid of it. Figure it out. Get around some people that are better than you. Get around some people that want to do more than you, because otherwise you're going to get complacent and you will not like the way you're living. You will not like anything about your situation. But I find that funny, man. I don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah, I don't know how. I was waiting to see where he's going to
I don't even remember what the question was.
I have no idea where that came from. But look, we're going to move on. Cause I'm sitting here like, how's he going to wrap this and put this together? Because that really, this joker went left. Maybe that was a shot at somebody.
Yeah, but no, because
he'll throw some subliminal. I don't know what was up with that.
But the point,
hold on. Let's just move on. So look, I ain't about to sit here and listen to that. I don't know what he talking about. So let's talk about your pro day. What happened at the end of your pro day that made it so, what caused you to get the injury you had?
So my pro day, I don't know if y'all familiar with a pro day. A pro day is when the NFL scouts come and watch you play. So I had a crazy pro day, the best pro day, like of the people that were there. At least this was what was told to me. I had the best pro day out of everybody that was there, or during that time. So my 40, I think I clocked a high 4.3 and then a low 4. I mean a low 4.5, and then the average was like a 4.4. I ended up slipping on the first one, and I ran a 4.5. But it's pretty fast for my position, pretty solid. I guess to fast forward, so I'm not talking too long on this. In comparison in the country, I was in the top 5 of every category when it came down to lifting, bench press. Ended up doing like 24. It was really 28, but I short-armed a couple, so they took away 4 of them. So it would have been 28, so I probably would have been number 1 in the country at the time with that. My 40 was in the 4.3, 4.5 range, which was top 5 in the category. My shuttle, I can't remember my shuttle off the top, but I can pull it up. It was in the top 5. Everything was in the top 5. So I remember at the end of our pro day, I ended up doing a drill. Let me touch on, because I want to kind of build on so y'all understand like the power and what this day was for me and how much it like could have impacted my chances of at least going to the NFL. So we had a kid named Rob Edens, R.I.P. He ended up passing away. But the schools, kind of similar to how it was in high school, they were there to see him. Like, when it just is what it is. He was one of the top guys on defense. He ended up going to Michigan's pro day and ended up doing something there, and they wanted to come by and see him here. So they was coming to see him. So we're not Alabama. Alabama has it so there's a position coach at every single station, and they're doing their own thing, and everybody gets a look. That's not how it works at Ball State. How it works at Ball State is the top guys get the looks. Everybody else got to fall in line. So we had an offensive lineman, and they didn't have time to watch everybody else. They'll have a DB doing offensive lineman drills, like no joke, just to see your footwork. So after the 40, the bench press, the shuttles, and all that stuff, they had Rob doing DB drills because that's how good I was doing. Like that's how dominant like I was to that whole day. Like they all wanted to see me, and they literally had our defensive end, who might have played linebacker, doing defensive back drills because they just had to condense the time. So that's how, just to kind of touch base on that. But I remember the coach. I'll never forget this. Coach was running our last drill was a simple back pedal, open up turn, and then speed turn out, catch the ball, run down the sideline. When I say I must have did it perfect, because the dude threw his clipboard and was like, man, like that's how you do the effing drill. That's how you do it. And then he runs up to me, comes talking to me. My guys on my team ran and told me what happened the whole 9 yards. They're like, yo, man, you're like, you ain't go nowhere else. You're going to the Colts. So to kind of fast forward again, I never go home. Like during this time, I was locked in. I was focused on going to the NFL. I never went home. I never celebrated for those last maybe 2 to 3 years. Haven't been out with my brother. Keep in mind, I didn't drink up until Ball State. So I never went partying with my brother, never did certain things. So I'm like, you know what? Home. Let's go out. Let's enjoy the night. So I get home. My mom, right before we about to leave, my mom goes, yo, don't go out. Don't go out. My mom does this a lot, but usually, believe it or not, she's usually on point. It's two different types of don't go outs. It's like, y'all shouldn't go out, and that's nothing to pay attention to. But my mom is a very spiritual woman, evangelist in the church, raised us in the church, and actually backs it up with her lifestyle. So it's not like a situation that I would just say, like, Mom, you're just talking. You always talking about Jesus. It wasn't that type of situation. She literally came up to me like, yo, it's in my spirit. Don't leave. Don't go out tonight. Stay home. Kept saying it to me. Said it to me about 3-4 times. I'm like, Mom, I'm good. I'm going out. Here's what it is. Ended up going out. Me and Joe went to Philly. At the end of the night, we was out having a good time drinking. Borderline, if I can remember correctly, half the drinks was free because knew the bartender, whole 9 yards. So enjoying life, about to leave, we'll go to grab some cheesesteaks because I haven't had one at this point in literally like 2-3 years. And I'm standing on the side of the road, and I hear Joe, get out the street. Charlie, get out the street, get out the street, get out the street. Keep in mind,
Nah, hold on. He's not telling the story the way it should. So first thing,
there's a lot more to
he was an idiot. I'm gonna go on record and say this dude's an idiot. So we're leaving the bar, and I'm like, yo, like it's time to go home. So it was me, him, and another friend. We were all leaving, like legit on our way home to stop and get something to eat and then go home. So as we're leaving, I'm like, yo, this idiot's in the middle of the road. Like, yo, I'm about to go to the NFL. I'm like, all right, that's nice. I'm gonna get there now. I'm like, all right, that's nice, dog, but get out the road. So he's like, nah, like, so he gets down,
dropped down into a defensive back stance and like getting position. It did like maybe 2 steps, of backpedaling, and then all of a sudden I wake up on the ground. They tell me,
I seen him, so he got hit by a car, and I like seen him go in the air and come down. I'm like, oh, so I've been drinking, so like it was like a shock, like, oh shoot, like, Joker just what happened? I know he ain't flipped that high. So, because you like you say when you're drunk and you're not really paying attention, I'm telling him to get out the road. I'm like, yo, this Joker just got hit by a car. And the car kept going, which made it worse. Yeah, I would love to see it.
I want to see it.
So the car kept going. So I'm like, didn't dawn on me that like he dude got hit by a car. Now go ahead.
Yeah, so I wake up. Keep in mind, I'm still a little tipsy at the time. I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, I try to Joe like, yo, get up. I'm like, man, I'm good. And I go to stand up. I'm like, man, I know I'm not good. I can't move my leg. He was like, what you mean? Get out the street. So I'm like, I try to do it again. I end up passing out, and I waking up again like immediately. Like maybe it was immediately, I guess. I wake up immediately. Yeah, I wake up immediately. We're like, yo, man, I just passed out. I literally can't move. It hurts. Like it's painful. Like, and then it ended happening again. I pass out again. All of a sudden, I wake up and I'm on the little stretcher. Then I pass out again. Wake up in the ambulance. Rush to the hospital. They cut my favorite pants. I'll never forget. I had these tan pants on. They cut it in half. And I woke up. I remember I'm being mad about that. That's how drunk. That's how bad. Like this when I say drinking, like to this point, just ridiculous. Like I was the first thing I didn't even acknowledge that my leg was hurt. I didn't acknowledge that I literally had a solid chance of making it to the NFL. Only thing I could think of was I was pissed that my pants was cut open by the doctor for them to do surgery on my leg. So I ended up getting rushed into there. Ended up having the surgery. I remember the doctor coming in saying, yeah, it'd be 6 to 9 weeks of recovery. And I'm like, okay, bet. Like,
you had an infection.
Yeah. So 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 9 weeks thing. I'm like, yeah, all right, bet. And keep in mind, this is the lockout year, so I'm not stressing. So it's the lockout year. I'm like, it don't take 4 to 6 weeks. That's nothing. Like, they already got a lockout right now. I'll be ready for the next season. I'll be ready for recovery. I can keep this under the water. I didn't take no pictures. I didn't post nothing because I didn't want to mess up my chances to getting, whether it be drafted or whether it be a chance to get a tryout. So I just left it alone. So end up getting an infection, a terrible infection, like to the point, like keep in mind at this time I could put pressure on my leg. Got a metal rod in my leg still to this day, but I could put pressure, I could walk. Ended up getting back to Delaware. That was all in Philly. That was a week in Philly. Ended up getting back to Delaware, got an infection. Got rushed to the hospital again. Almost lost my life between kidney stones and blood clots and the whole 9 yards that comes with infections. Through my leg, and if I didn't go in, they said that I probably would have lost my life if I went to sleep.
The funniest thing, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. The funniest thing about this whole story, and I know this. I don't know if you remember this. I probably said to him because I felt bad. Like my brother really didn't drink. He didn't hang out. I like to be out and about, but that just wasn't him. So I felt bad. So I'm sitting here like, yo, Charlie, as much as you hate to hear this right now, everything happens for a reason. Yeah. I might have said this to him 1,000 times. I lost count because I felt bad. I was like, yo, this joker literally just had a good pro day. Patriots were interested. Colts were interested. He comes home. I mean, it's his fault, but still it was on my watch. Because I always found myself as a protector. Like, we get there, we go home together, the whole nine. So I was like, I felt bad. Like this joker, like, literally just messed up his whole life over hanging out with me. And then my mom didn't make it no better. Because when I called her and told her that Charlie got into an accident, she's like, what? Charlie got into an accident? She didn't ask me, was all right? Nothing. Yeah. She was just like, Charlie, what is it? So I started to say this. I felt bad, but I don't remember asking you this. If you remember me saying, yo, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
You said it all the time.
But I bring that up.
But I believe that, though. That's the
yeah. I really man, had no other choice, nigga. Yeah, I don't call you a nigga. what else? She had to look up. Hate to say it like that.
Yeah, at this point, what else do you have but that? Like I am a firm believer that God has a plan for you, even if it's not the plan that you want it to be.
Hold on. Yeah. But because of that happened, let's move forward. Yeah. Because of that happening, what happened after that? Because we'll get to that part, but what happened, like with your rehab and things of that nature.
So keep in mind, after the infection, I went back to get I had to get a second surgery. The hair immediately had to rearrange and touch on some things. And I remember the doctor coming back in and saying, I don't know what the guy was talking about, 6 to 9 weeks. He said, it's going to be 6 to 9 months. Instantly, my whole body got hot. I remember like breaking down in tears, crying, just bawling, crying, because I knew 6 to 9 months in football, for somebody who hasn't got a shot yet,
it's over.
It's over. Yeah, it's just common sense. It may be a slim chance if your stats was crazy out of college, but 9 times out of 10 it's over. So I'm just like, I'm still trying to be positive about it. Like I'm still trying to be like, all right, yo, God, you just adding on to the story. The story already long, but for some reason you adding on to it, and I can handle it. That was my mindset. I can handle it. I can take it. Let's keep moving forward. So go to recover. Now, at this time, keep in mind, immediately, this is when people come up to me, side note, come up to me saying, yo, I'm hurt. Should I take a break from the gym? Literally a day after I was cleared, I was in the gym with my brother. Joe was my witness. The day after I was cleared, I was in the gym with my brother. Whether I was doing upper body stuff, I was doing light stuff to try to work to recover. But fast forward back to when I was able to recover and I was able to be clear to get back on to moving and being mobile on my leg. I ended up doing trying to do weights. And I remember, keep in mind, I'm this college football athlete that's supposed to be in the NFL. People at the time could search me and they could pull up my name, pull up my highlights, and you see how good I was. And I'm in the gym and I can barely do 100 pounds of squats. So it's kind of getting to me. It's kind of eating me up. Then so I tried to do sleds. With sleds, I tried to push the sled. Extremely painful. Like it felt like my leg was about to snap again. Everything that I did just to get to it, everything that I did, it was way too much. So what we used to do at Ball State, we would wrap resistance bands like the ones behind me right there. We would wrap resistance bands, step on one side, come across, step on other side, come across, lean on the bench, and do speed squats. So I did that, and it wasn't no pain. Like it felt perfectly fine to do it, and I felt the tension. I felt everything that I was trying to feel to build my strength. Keep in mind, I played DB, so I have to be the strongest person and fastest person in position, fastest person on the field. So I'm thinking, okay, resistance bands work. Let's take it to the next level. So I keep it on there, and I try to run. Ends up popping and sliding all over the place. So I go home, and I'm like, man, maybe there's some resistance band type of things that I can run with. And I'm literally Googling resistance bands to run in, resistance bands, trying to be creative to think of different ways to search this thing, and I couldn't find anything like it at the time. So this is 2010, 2011. So I'm trying to find things remotely close, like around the 2011, 2012 time. That whole time I'm like literally searching. So one day, I'll never forget this. I'm laying in bed, and I'm watching TV, and like Larissa, my wife, then my girl, she's gone. I'm not in the house, and I'm sitting there just. I never forget. I was like just out of it, watching TV. SpongeBob was on, I think, and I'm just sitting there laying down, and instantly heard something say, "Get up and draw." I knew what that something is. If y'all got questions on what that something is, I can talk about that too.
God.
Yeah, God instantly, boom. Because God speaks to me a little bit differently. Everybody says God will speak to you, or everybody tries to find out how does God speak to you. I'm a firm believer that He speaks to you the way you need to, the way you hear. So however you hear, that's the way God moves you. And
God speaks to you, and what happens after that? Like, so what happened after
so
God spoke to you?
So instantly when I got the realization, it was said, God spoke to me and said, draw it. And I was like, draw, and popped up, literally just like that, like, because that never dawned on me, like I to create it myself. So I went, literally, I got the pictures. I'll send them to you. That way you can kind of tag it if need be. I literally drew it out and sketched it to what was in my mind, to the thing that would say, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to quote a scripture that ain't there, but it said, write it out, make it plain. It was kind of like that, and it was. I instantly saw it in my head. Went to the pen and paper, drew it up, put it down, put a whole plan together, and of getting it done and doing it, and started trying to break it down. Started trying to search how to start a business and doing all this stuff. And keep in mind, at this time, I ain't got no money. I'm sitting in bed. I'm literally like trying to find jobs, trying to do certain things, living off the check from my leg at the time. So I was like, it was like instantly like, let me hit my brother up, call my brother. I had a presentation planned out for him, and I laid it out, I laid it out the same way I saw it, and I sent it to him, and he was like, man, let's do it. And from there.
So early stages, what he's saying is this. So originally, I was home from college. I had just graduated. I've been home for like about a year and a half working, saving up money to try my luck in real estate. I always never wanted to work for anybody. So at the time, he was trying to rehab and trying to build his legs back up just because he broke his fibula and his tibula. He was trying to rehab, and he sent me a DVD of like this project that I looked at, like this project that he wanted me to invest in. 'Cause I'm sitting here like, yo, man, I just gave you money. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it was like a month before something happened. His basement flooded or something. So he called me asking me for money. So I'm like, all right, here you go again.
Now that was
asking me for money.
But yeah.
It was I know I just gave you money.
Something like,
I couldn't remember
crazy.
What it was.
Something like.
But he called me and was like, yo, I'm about to send you this DVD.
Probably needed his steak dinner or something.
Yeah, probably. No telling. He be capping. But long story short, I'll never forget, he sent me this presentation of what we know now is to be the total resistance But he sent me a presentation, and it's just speaking on resiliency. He sent me this presentation. I was like, man, what is this?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't nothing. Like at this point, it was nothing. It was just like his drawings and bands
It's a thought.
and things of that nature. But
instantly, that was the everything happened for a reason. Like manifested right out. Like everything happened for a reason was just right there. Like, okay, this is it. And from there, like I said, was working through, ended up getting a job. But the entire time, that was in the upfront, working to get that back. Keep in mind, so at this time, I still didn't think my football career was over. Up until that point, like literally up until that point, I was football, doing whatever I had to do, doing odd jobs to focus on football. Once that happened, I was like, okay, this is bigger than any of that. Like this was what makes this make sense. This injury makes sense. None of this didn't happen for no reason.
How long did it take you to come up with it?
People
don't understand this.
So shout out to Lou, Lindsay Cosby. Fortunately for me, I had a Lindsay Cosby who at the time she was at Ball State. She used to design everything. She ended up designing my wife's wedding after party dress, if I'm not mistaken. She ended up doing my suit jacket for the wedding. Like she just was the girl that we went to do anything with fashion. So I ended up setting up a meeting with her, saying like pretty much laying it out. Yo, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I already know at the time. I already looked up how much it would cost if we would have just went straight to a manufacturer. Ended up being it's $25,000 at the time. It was $25,000 for a prototype, and then after that $5,000 for any adjustments or changes that needed to be done. Didn't have that. That's common sense. And even if I did have it, I wouldn't want to spend that. So
they would get a piece of it.
Even that, like even out of that,
they would get parts, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would get a percentage of it. So even out of that. So look, not to get into detail on to backtrack too much, but when I got the injury, I was anticipating getting about $300,000 just off of this injury because of the potential income that I could have made. Like at the time, the league minimum was like $300,000. So insurance should have covered at least that. They didn't. It was nowhere near that. It ended up being like $10,000 and got robbed on that. Like that's a whole shady process. Like I said, I don't want to go into detail. But if I would have got paid that, I would have blew all that money on investing into this. Like there's no question about it. I would have blew all the money. I would have spent the $25,000. I would have. Keep in mind, I probably would have called Joe anyway, just because we was tight, we was close. But I might have rushed into doing it myself. Which, keep in mind, Joe is. If y'all know Joe, anybody know Joe, he always balanced. I'm ready to go. I'm always on go when it comes, especially with certain things. I'm a spender, so I'm a boom. Oh yeah, we got to get this. We got to get this. We got to get this. And he's like, yo, no, you don't. We can do it this way. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, boom.
Hold on, let's talk about that. So at the time, I didn't know he was this impulsive with his spending. So when we was coming up with the prototype, I want to say I went through at least $6,000 of wasted money.
Yeah.
Because he would go on the internet, find something like, yeah, we got to get this.
Nah, 6,000 wasn't the wasted.
Yes, it was.
I say 2,000 was probably wasted. What I mean by two. So I talked talking to Lindsay who helped me put together the designs to create the Total Resistance. She needed a machine because her little sewing machine wasn't enough. So I bought a machine. Long story short, that was in between what we needed. It wasn't strong enough. So that was wasted money. That was $700 right there. That
actually was like $758 to be exact.
Yeah, $700, $800. Ended up finding the right machine. That was $1,200.
Yes,
$1,200 to get the right machine. That's just off a machine. This
it's not even putting the fabric together.
We ain't
machines.
We ain't stitching a thing yet. Then fabric. So fabric, we ordered the right but the wrong material. So the right because
it was wrong.
Yeah, but no, it was the right material, wrong type. So we ended up eventually. That was a whole project. Keep in mind, this is months of doing this stuff, months of saving up, months of doing certain things.
This was like basically the first year.
Yeah,
was just buying everything to put it together
and seeing if it worked. Buying and seeing. So keep in mind, it cost us what.
A lot.
Yeah, it cost us thousands doing that. But keep in mind, if this was me going out, like I said, if I would have got the check that I thought I would have got, that's why I said that's the way we look at things. That like, especially believers. Like I don't need to go into detail, but I'm a firm believer that Jesus is the answer. And as believers, we always look at things that go wrong or things that don't go our way as the devil. Everything's not the devil. Everything is not the devil. Some things is God saying, yo, slow down, relax, yo, calm down, take it easy. I got it. And it took certain things like not getting the check that I truly deserve. Like it's not even about deserving. Like insurance should have covered it. If you look at any other person's situation and that same thing, they usually get that type of money. They wait it out. I was okay with doing the waiting game. So I would have got, but if I would have got that money, I would have blew at least in that first month $100,000 on trying to figure that out, which would have been wasting money. It wouldn't have made no sense, and it would have been.
Look, I ain't trying to none of
digging
that.
a hole.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna stick with the facts. And the fact of the matter is, we blew the first year alone with nothing in return.
Mm-hmm.
We probably blew about a good $7,000.
Yeah.
So let's go to year 2 of the prototype.
Yeah. So year 2.
Because I want people to understand, like, things take time. Like,
Yeah, big time.
I would have loved for it to happen in a year, but things take time. So year 2 was more of us still trial and error,
Prototypes.
but having
Year 2 was
something
prototypes.
in place. So we actually like had something tangible.
Yeah.
Buying bands, buying things of that nature, and figuring out we cannot put this together on our own. We can come up with what it looks like, but we can't put it together on our own. As far as the bands,
Yeah. So prototypes, we went through about 3 or 4 different prototypes.
3
before-
years,
Yeah.
3.5 years. of
Yeah.
that.
Before we got it completely down to, okay, this is it. This is marketable. This is something we can sell. Keep in mind, it was meant to just be originally
For legs.
until we kind of put it all together and figured that this can completely replace a gym without question. Every exercise, just about every exercise that you could do in the gym, you could do right at home with the Total Resistance, and that ended up being the goal to turn it around. Once I gave up football mentally, that's when things started like really, I would say, taking off. But nothing works like that. But that's when we started heading in the right direction. When the focus became, okay, how can this change other people's lives in the same situation that I was in, or other people's lives in general? It doesn't have to just be rehab, because we thought it was originally for rehabilitation. From rehabilitation, it went to, okay, this can be something that people can do at home. From being something at home, completely replacing the gym. So,
How did it start?
you said, how did it start?
How did it start? Like so prototype, we came up with the prototype, we finally got it finalized. You reached out to a company to help us patent it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. So we reached out to the company that helped us patent it. Once we got it all figured out, sent it off to them. Keep in mind, at this time, seen absolutely nothing like this. After reaching out to the company, I can't prove this because timing is timing, and maybe someone else was thinking about it. Maybe something, who knows? Like a year later, after that, something comes out similar to our harness. But granted, obviously, I know the differences because y'all, like I said, people that know me and understand how I train, I don't tell anybody to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself or that I haven't done already. Everything about the harness and the Total Resistance that we do, especially the sizes of the resistance bands, have purpose and meaning behind it. Everything that is on that harness has purpose and meaning. The one that was competitive had no meaning. The resistance bands barely worked. It was for show. It looked good, but it still didn't exist, because otherwise I would have just bought that and never kept focusing on football. So when that happened, it was like a yo, what's going on? Like it made us smarter in the game and understanding that, one, there's always going to be competition. For every McDonald's, there's a Burger King. For every Nike, there's a Adidas. Like, we understand that now because of that exact same situation. Even with patents and stuff, you can have all the copyrights and all the things in the world that you want. But at the end of the day, somebody can find a way to compete with you. Now, your brand is what makes you different, and how you come about it. And that's what I had to really like reel in. Like, yo, they can have whatever they have. Because I probably wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't even have did it if it wasn't for me seeing that the time I saw it, and if it coming out the time that it came out. So I probably would have just bought it and kept it moving. But like I said, God operates the way He operates, and we seen it the way we seen it and did it the way we did it. And now we have an understanding of our product is what it is. It's superior to whatever anything close to it is like it. And now we have an understanding of that, and we moved smarter business-wise because of the things that was happening on the back end that we wouldn't have seen.
So after we went through the company, we found out that they, I don't want to say scammers, but that they take your money, and they take your money.
Yeah, they take your money,
and
send
they
you a
take your
bunch of
money.
stuff. Yeah, they take your money, send you some stuff to make it seem like they're working, and then they do whatever they want. So they'll pitch it to wherever they pitch it. But if you understand this, so if you have an idea, and I did nothing, I don't got the copyright, I don't got anything done, and I got an idea to a phone case idea, and it's doing this, and I take it to somebody with money and say, yo, look, this is my idea, boom, boom, boom. I got no copyright, I got no protection, I got nothing. They can literally just say, okay, boom, see you later, I'll think about it, and go do it themselves immediately. And that's what I believe happened in a sense. Can't prove it. But like I said, now after that, after trying to figure out if I could sue these people, I realized, okay, we the one that fumbled. We the one that messed that up. Fortunately, we wasn't in the position to really move forward the way we wanted to move forward. So it ended up, like I said, that was God telling us to pretty much slow down to speed up. Not slow down to stop, slow down to speed up. Like, yo, like y'all don't got y'all stuff, y'all ducks in the road to be pitching nothing to anybody. Do it yourselves. Take your time, relax, get it together. And that's what we did. We scaled back, went to the pace that we could go, that we could afford, and then sold based off of that rather than trying to jump into Dick's Sporting Goods, jump into the bigger
Walmart.
Yeah, jumping to Walmart. We was jumping right to that just off an idea. That's not how things work. Like you gotta literally, you gotta prove. You gotta have some sales to back up that this stuff is going to be even proven, and that's kind of like that's pretty much what happened.
So we come up with the prototype. We go about getting the patent, did all that,
Yeah.
and then I'll tell you a quick story. We go to Houston. So appreciating one of Charlie's friends, Devin, got us the opportunity to go to Houston.
Yeah,
so we
that's
went to
funny
Houston.
too. That's hilarious.
We went to Houston. We went to Houston for a weekend. It was an American Fitness Expo.
Yeah.
So we were exposed. We like, I thank God for it because it showed me,
Affirmation.
futuristic thing. Yeah, affirmation. But we were put in front of thousands and thousands of people. And the most humbling thing that I've learned from that was that when people don't know who you are, they treat you like they don't know who you are. So imagine having what you see in your mind is the greatest product ever. You believe in it, you've invested in it, and then you're in front of thousands and thousands of people, and they got these long lines and just overlooking at you and looking at you like, well, what is that? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks fun, but literally not taking us serious.
Yeah.
So we go through that.
We're in Houston.
Yeah, when we was in Houston. We
I-
sold out, but
No,
still.
I agree with what you're saying. But here's the way you talk about it. I agree with what you're saying, but I still look at that situation differently. I look at, because of where we was, and you got to think, the American Fitness Expo, especially at that time, I don't know how much credibility it has right now, but at that time, if you were there, you were somebody. So we had the Dana Lynn Baileys, the Simeon Pandas, the people that are big names in fitness all around us. And us being there, like, keep in mind, we look good there, but we look like we was low budget. Like we had a nice little billboard, nice little sign, and we were just taking people through workouts, and people was lining up. Like we right next to, I never forget this, we right next to Dana Lynn Bailey. Dana Lynn Bailey, if y'all don't know who she is, she's a female bodybuilder, cut up like, she made me look like a little child sometimes, like if I'm not on my meals. But if we're right next to her booth, so she has people waiting in line. They're coming in, testing it with us, and then hop back in line. So that exposure really benefited us and a lot. And it was,
That's how he look at it.
yeah, that's how I look at it.
I looked at it as humbling.
But it was affirmation. And yeah, it was humbling because we wasn't perceived as on the same level as Dana Lynn Bailey, but we was perceived as, yo, okay, this is legit, because otherwise they wouldn't be here. It costs money to be at that thing. Like I say, God works for us. Like I say, people can argue if it's God or not. I know God is real, but based off the works that He's doing in my life. Devin, to kind of touch on how we got that opportunity. Devin was it still is, does speeches all over the world. I travel with him several times to do speeches. This opportunity fell in our lap because it fell in his lap. And like I said, it's about surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded and want to see you succeed. I don't want to be a world-renowned speaker. That's him. He does that. He doesn't want to be a world-renowned fitness person. That's me. So, like, he had the opportunity to speak at this place, and he said, you know what? For pay, just give me a booth. gave me the opportunity to be there for free. So like I said, so y'all can look at it however you want. He didn't even speak. That's the funny thing. Not to spill the beans, but it was so busy, so hectic. All he did was chill with us in the booth. The push situation. That's what I said. That's the importance of having like-minded people who really believe in you around you. That's one. Two, to touch on what he was saying about getting overlooked. And it's funny that this morning I saw this story. I'm not going to get long with it on, I promise you. Dude named Joshua Bell. Dude named Joshua Bell. Joshua Bell is a violin player. He stood in the subway of New York. Can't make this up. Stood in the subway of New York playing the same songs he play everywhere he goes. So that time he was there for 45 minutes, got $30 in tips, got a couple applause, got a couple claps, other than that, people just was walking past him, not paying him no mind. Granted, he was in New York City the night before. He sold out the place he performed at was $100 a ticket, playing the exact same songs. This is a world-class musician, violin player who the night before, standing in the subway, was playing all songs that people pay hundreds of dollars to hear him play. My point in bringing that up is at that time we was the subway guys. You know what I mean? We was the subway guys that just never got an opportunity. We was playing the same exact music, with the exact same power, same mindset, same experience that we got right now, but we were just simply in the subway. And like I said, now we're putting ourselves in a position to be this, but that takes time. Fall back on what Joe just said. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But because things don't happen overnight, we end up quitting, we end up giving up, we end up pushing what God had for us in the back burner to focus on what we feel like should be the thing that we should be doing.
Funny thing, what year was that?
It's 2000. Had to be like 16, 17.
So 2016.
Maybe 18.
That was
Maybe
the
18.
birth, and it's funny. That was the birth of, to me, TR Fit Clubs.
Yeah.
Because people that probably
17.
seen us there. Mm-hmm. So we had two really, really loud speakers. And mind, we were the only people in there with loud, ignorant, disrespectful music. Because I don't monitor. I don't care about music. To me, music makes you dance, has fun, and take it how you want it. That's how I look at music. So it's funny that was. Now I'm sitting here thinking about it out loud. Like that was the birth of TR Fit Clubs, because shortly after that, my brother did one of the dumbest things that he could do. He quit his job. Understandably, I understand why. But he went home. He must have listened to Steve Harvey when he said,
I definitely did.
And this fool just like straight quit his job.
So look,
the dumbest thing ever.
So I'm already contemplating quitting my job at this time. So it's been up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'm calling Joe, yo, should I quit? Should I quit? We had a trainer at my job. I used to sell cars. Keep in mind, I'm a believer. If you can sell one thing, you can sell anything. Especially with the experience that I had. I had 5 years at the time of sales experience, 4 to 5 years of sales experience. So one of our trainers who up and quit his job to do what he's doing. Keep in mind, he's still in the field. So I maybe was a little overzealous, but he quit his job to do what he was doing, and it worked out for him. So I'm looking at all these stories, and I go to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban saying, yo, you don't have to quit your job. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have to quit my job. Then instantly, Steve Harvey pops up. And this is during the time where his thing went viral, saying that, man, you just got to jump. They're like, you going to hit some bumps.
And he took that back, too. Kinda. He kind of took it back, and I appreciate him taking it back. If I ever meet that guy, when I meet him, I'm going to make sure
So Steve Harvey, I do want to say to Steve Harvey right now, if you end up seeing this, you the reason I quit my job, it was a struggle. You're one of the main reasons I quit my job, but it ended up working out. So, but, like I said,
because you had a lot of help, it didn't work out.
It ended up being like one of the most humbling situations in my life. So keep in mind.
Tell them why. Seriously, tell them why.
I'm gonna break it down. So I quit my job because the sales for the harness at the time was doing very well. Keep in mind, now I didn't know how seasons work and quarters worked, and at that time, and understanding that fitness is hot during certain months. I didn't understand that till now, being in the business. So at that time, we were selling maybe like 5 to 10 a month, part time, like halfway trying to push them. So I'm like, okay, so I can do this, take the profit, put it back into the business, put this to my bills. This will cover what I'm making. I don't need to make the full amount. All I need to make is this.
Nah. What you
my
really
sales
thought
is gonna
was,
double.
what you really thought was, if I quit my job and I do this all
Full
day,
time.
we go from 5 to 10 sales to 20 to 30 to 30 to 40 to
Yes.
40 to 50.
Yes.
That's what he really thought.
And then I can pay myself.
It's not
based
what
off of
happened,
that.
though.
Yeah, it's not. When I say the day I quit, the following month, donut, zero
we
sales.
ain't sell harness for like
It was a couple
almost,
months.
Almost
It was a couple
year.
months. Yeah,
Almost a year.
It was bad. It was bad. And I'm literally it's to the point. And once again, like I said, like you can look at it as like things that happening to you or for you like that. I think that was all for the better. I ended up becoming a door-to-door salesman trying to sell harnesses. I ended up becoming a corporate salesman trying to sell the harnesses. Ended up getting meetings with companies that I would have never even thought of trying to reach out to or even understanding the business side of any type of business, like the type of meetings I was getting. Keep in mind, this is all foot traffic with zero sales. Nothing's coming out of it. A bunch of promises and then falling through. Ended up, I would sell some here and there, sell some to gyms. I was going door to door to gyms and selling some here and there to gyms, just enough to like maybe pay a light bill, pay a phone bill, something light, nothing too crazy. But it got to the point that it was kind of panic mode, and it was like when I say back against the wall, that's an understatement. Like it was rough. Like calling my brother, calling my dad for money. Keep in mind, because they understand. I didn't just up and quit without telling nobody. They understood what I was trying to do. They understood like the
sacrifice.
Yeah, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't feel complete. Like I knew and this is a lot of people when they vision like how men are. Yeah, we're stubborn. Especially the ones that are driven. When men are driven and hell-bent, set on doing something, it's either going to do it and live with the consequences, or you're not going to do it and be bitter for the rest of your life. And that's kind of like where I felt like it would be, and I didn't want to be in that window of what if I didn't.
Nah, so give y'all a little bit more context on what happened, right? So he quit his job prematurely. I wasn't against him quitting his job, but at the same time, I was like, it made sense numbers-wise at the time, because if you put more time and effort into it, you would think, like, okay, God, you got my back. We're going to make money. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, but I will say this.
But that was for a reason.
Yeah, I will, because it definitely, one thing it definitely taught me was how to support a company that wasn't making money.
Yeah.
So that's one. So I don't really get upset about money. And just to explain that a little bit more, I was working, but when Charlie quit his job, we had money to pay the bills back. But when sales stopped, they stopped. He's under telling how long they stopped. Sales stopped for more than a year. When sales stopped, like I had took out loans. Charlie still needed his cell phone bill paid. He still needed, help around.
Keep in mind,
the house.
I was still moved. Like that's people don't understand. Like it wasn't like the
we just wasn't.
sales
They just
stopped.
wasn't. Yeah, they just wasn't consistent.
I was doing. When I say footwear, this was a full-time job. Like I'm busting my behind to try to get this thing going, and it just. When I say nothing working, at least in our eyes, for what we saw at the time, nothing was working. Nothing was going the way we wanted it to go.
It taught me to just be like, you know what, just more foot traffic, reaching out to people on social media, DMing them, hey, I got a new product,
We would
you
get
should try
sales
this,
off and stuff like that.
we would get sales, but they just wasn't.
It wasn't consistent. It wasn't enough to go. Okay, this quarter we're gonna do this because we made this amount of sales. It wasn't to that point.
But it taught me, and it's still to the point now. People that know me, it's like it's this or nothing. Nah.
Yeah,
get on that. That's
Can we
real.
yeah.
But it's like, it's this or nothing,
How
because it's
you-
like you can't invest this amount of money into something. And
Yeah.
everybody's telling you no.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Hart spoke
Everybody.
on it. I mean, everybody telling you no, and you still believe in it,
Yeah.
and still. I even heard Tyler Perry say that, like when you can't let it go.
Yeah.
It must be God. And it was like, no matter what, I couldn't let it go. So
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Yeah.
As much as it was hard going through it, because I felt like we was never going to get out of it, I will say it taught me to say, like, nobody can offer me $1 billion right now for this harness.
No, not at all.
I'm going to tell you no.
But even fun, like so kind of touch on we laugh about certain things. It's really neither here nor there, but it's relevant to what we're talking about. How people on social media will do anything for attention, and their original vision would be, I want to be successful in this field. But then when that doesn't work, they start posting outrageous stuff. We talk about how people lose their way, and it reminds me of the whole 50 Cent approach to life. 50 Cent say, get rich or die trying. Keep in mind, we both 50 fans, like so. But I think it should be clarified. So it's not a get rich or die trying. It's become successful in getting rich in what you are like truly passionate about.
Living your purpose.
Living your purpose, or that's it. Like and that's it. And I think that's what's misleading, because people hear get rich or die trying. I'm not getting rich by any means necessary. I'm not, because if that's, I'll sell my body if that's the case. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where does the line draw? So if you're, like I said, if you're a believer, you understand that everything happens for a reason. Everything goes according to a plan, to God's plan, not your own plan, but to God's plan. You understand, like, yo, if I'm truly passionate and I'm doing everything I need to do, right, just keep moving forward, and it's going to happen. And like I said, it goes back to that, like don't just sell yourself. Like, we had to learn that too, like because there's a lot of times and a lot of opportunities along that whole journey that I could have easily went, you know what? And I tried it. I won't even lie to you. I reached out to him like, yo, man, let's sell the middle band things too. So he was like, man, yo, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. He's like, yo, this happened. You ain't get hit to discover something somebody else was already selling. This is what we do. Believe in this, sell that as if that was it. I'm like, all right, guess we sticking it out. And it ended up being for the better. Like I said, because instead of spending time trying to find new things to do, I spent that same time trying to find out how this can apply to everybody's life. And it was spending more time to figure out exactly. Like I said, you can't tell me nothing about resistance bands that I don't already know.
I will say this, and this was the biggest takeaway, and then we're going to move forward to how we got to TR Fit Clubs. But the biggest takeaway was that it was 3 years. This was the biggest thing that I learned. Those 3 years of up and down sales, a year of making no money. Like, what that really taught was how to use this harness. And that's why I say, if somebody offered me $1 billion right now, I wouldn't, $1 billion, I wouldn't take it right now, because the things that 3 year journey, or that 3 year of nothing, literally showed us exactly how to use this harness, who could benefit from it, from rehab to college to high school sports. And we just getting started, and people don't understand our vision, and that's cool. But you cannot trade that long 3 years God just kept us hidden for whatever reason. In my mind, it's like, come on, God. But in his mind, it's like, nah, I need y'all to understand what y'all have. So in that 3 years, I literally have learned what we have. But let's talk about why you moved to Delaware. Because originally I was supposed to move to Indiana to open up our first facility there. But we ended up deciding to come home to Delaware. What made you do that?
Ended up having a son, and he pretty much changed the way I like viewed anything, viewed life, viewed. Like I said, and we kind of touched on this and talked about this. We both married, and we always say yeah, I love my wife. There's nothing I won't do for my wife, but if she wasn't in my life, this would have happened regardless. We would have figured this out. Like, and it's just the way we're driven, just the way we compete, we push each other. But the difference is, now that my wife is in my life, has my child, another one on the way, like, everything I do is like for them. So I'm trying to just simply, I couldn't allow her to struggle no more. I get emotional.
Yeah, he was struggling. I'm gonna talk, because he was definitely struggling. He lost his car. The car got repoed. We ain't even talk about that. Car got repoed. A lot. It was a lot. But nevertheless, we're here. But keep going. Try your best. We got time. Let's keep it recording. I edit this part out. I said keep it recording. I edit this part out. Go ahead.
My bad.
Nah, you good. I've been
Yeah.
there.
Hold on. Take a walk. But yeah, because I don't. What was the question again?
Made you take the leap of faith to come here and
Oh, yeah.
and open up and start a new life here. Well,
Yeah.
back. I mean, it is the new life, but starting a new life here.
Yeah.
'Cause people see people see shiny things. You know how I feel about
Yeah.
shiny things. I hate shiny things. I hate shiny objects. I hate it because it's not a real. It's just not real. It's like I know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say too much, but shiny things is just like it's what people want you to see, and it's not real.
Yeah.
But we both know the truth about shiny objects. They go from being shiny to when they get a little rusty, you don't want them no more. But the question was, what made you
So after having a son,
move home?
After having a son, like I just prayed about it, man. That was the main thing. We kept, like I said at the time, we was talking about moving everything, keeping everything in Indiana, because I just simply didn't see anything working in Delaware. Like it just was like the people I hung around with, the things I was doing. But fortunately, it just made sense. Like I spent the time that I spent away from Delaware. Keep in mind, I still have friends here, and have a lot of the friends, a lot of guys I grew up with, weren't doing the things that I would like to be around. Like when it boils down to, I didn't like partying at the time. I didn't like doing certain things. I was really, when I say I was so focused on this, that it just didn't make sense. So I didn't want to keep myself. Even when I went home, I hung out with 5 guys. It was 5 of us. Like it's just me, John, Money, Tone, Devin. Like it was the only guys I hung out with, and we all kind of like pretty much separate, come back. Couple guys here and there like that I kick it with, but other than that, like I'm not a partier. I didn't do anything. My focus was getting this off the ground, getting this successful. I had people on my back. At least this is what I felt like. Even under Joe, Joe already sent money on top of money. My dad sent money on top of money. I got like like I said, I got a son at this time. So now, and my wife, same thing, money on top of money, just believing in me and trusting. Because here's the thing, and like, we talk about like dynamic of a household. She still trusted my judgment to lead, even when I showed like, man, no signs of
Making
things
money.
working out. Yeah. Things working out, but she just simply believed in me. She I don't know, she believed in the harness. It didn't matter. She believed in me. So at that point, I was like, man, I'm not. And I won't even say that because it make it sound like I left because of, I didn't leave because of fear. I left because I would have kept doing it. I told her this. I said, it's funny because we talked about this the other day. I said, yo, you realize, or how do you think things would have been if we never left Indiana? She's like, it would have been all right. And like, that's like I said, that's my girl, man. So
Cap.
no, I disagree with it too. I disagree with it too, but because I know how I am, I know I'd have still been sticking it out. I know I'd have still been like trying. But fast forward once again, at that very time, and me and Joe talked about this as well. At that time, before I made the decision to come back home, my prayer changed. So I used to pray, like, God, why it ain't happening? Why this ain't? Come on, like. Help me get this. Help me. I want to do this. Hey, just let me get into this company. If I get, they got 100 people that work there. If I get 100 of them on board, their insurance involved in whole 9 yards, that'll get me off the ground, and I can keep on going and get this going. And God repeat, like it just was silence. Like I said, I know God don't speak to me. God speaks to me differently. Usually it's a quick boom and I react and I move. So I'm not hearing nothing. I don't hear anything. So then from that day, I remember changing my prayer to order my steps, and then from there was continue to order my steps, and I literally changed the way I prayed, changed the way I moved. Same thing. I'm home. Said move home. Literally just like that. I was like, you know what? Call Joe. Like, yo, about to move home. I like y'all got a place, Joe. Like, yeah, man, you can stay with me or just stay with mom and them. I was like, the decision ended up being my mom and them have a bigger place, so we ended up staying there, living in the basement for a little bit, just to get this off the ground. And like instantly when I get home, when I say instantly when I get home, things started turning around. Instantly when I got home, things started turning around. Larissa ended up, and this is how it worked out. So it's funny. In Indiana, Larissa just got a new job at Starbucks. She was manager of Starbucks. They're trying to find a spot for her in Indiana to. She's supposed to be. She was getting training at a local store right around the corner from our apartment. She was getting training there, and when I told her I wanted to move, keep in mind, like I said, this is why I say there's nothing I won't do for this girl. So when I said, yo, I want to move home, I like, it makes more sense. Got a family, got support. I got help. We can have help with landing. We can have help with everything. She goes, all right, let me make a phone call. She calls her manager. Her manager reaches out to the people in Delaware. We told them the area we was gonna be in. They ended up. When I say they was excited to talk to her, because keep in mind this is when the whole racial dilemma was going on at Starbucks. And so I said, God know what He's doing, man. The whole racial dilemma was going on at Starbucks, and shoot.
So they ended up. I know this.
Yeah.
They ended up having a position for her. Like, yeah, it was
crazy.
crazy.
They just fired somebody. Just got rid of somebody, and they needed somebody to change the culture.
And somebody fast.
Area. Yeah.
So
somebody
she got an opportunity to move home fast.
So she moved home, got her training.
Moved home as far as she moved here to Delaware with
moved
us.
to Delaware, and then, like I said, it ended up everything ended up working on back to how it was for us. Things just started falling in line, and the kind of rewind though. But in Indiana, I was doing classes in a church. So shout out to Pastor Kenneth Sullivan. I started doing classes, so things started picking up during that time before I moved. But but it was like a faith walk the entire time. So I got more involved in church, more studying for myself, reading the Bible, reading the Word for myself, and rather than just trusting what people say the Bible says, started reading for myself and understanding that all of this stuff was happening. That the story of Job came across where he lost everything and got it all back hundredfold. Started reading stuff like that to keep my spirits up, and then after that, like I said, I changed my prayer from selfish prayers to like order my steps. And not to get long-winded on this, but we talked about this 1,000 times. People don't understand. Even if God answers all your prayers, if all your prayers are answered, even if it's probably this in comparison to what God would have gave you. So, for example, we can pray, yo, man, we got to, Lord bless us with this. Bless us. He may do that, but rather than praying that, pray, man, like this Bible says, the Lord won't put, in other words, the Lord won't put more on you than you can bear. So if that's the case, I'd rather Him set the limit than me set the limit. Even if I think it's high, God has something greater. So I started operating like that, started praying like that, started moving like that, and started really, really, truly believing that. And that's when things started really falling in line when I got here. Clients started lining up to train with me. I wasn't worried about nobody else. I was just focusing on the people in front of me. Keep in mind, this style of training that we train here, power, cardio, core, every single day. Power was kind of designed, and we probably was going to touch on it, but power, I used to go back and lift with Joe and steal the way he worked out. It just is what it is. I literally took what he did on the power side, the supersets thing. That's what got me strong in the first place. Why would I change that? Why would we do anything? Cardio, love HIIT training, that style of training. Core, I do abs every day. Put it together, and not only did that start coming to light that this actually works, I started doing the exact same things with other people, regardless of what their goals was. Like, it was funny, because we talk about trainers, they usually send out the same thing, and they'll tweak it here and there. Nutritionists, they'll send out the exact same thing, tweak it here and there. I'm proof that that's what happens, and we literally are living it. Like, people that come to this gym understand, like, we got literally, not to fast forward too much, but we literally, at the point now that we have a gym, we're literally living and showing that all the things that we worked for and prayed for and hoped for works. because we stuck it out and lived it out. And like I said, the move just worked out, and it was God's plan for us, rather than me focusing and saying I don't need to go to Delaware. I can do it here. That was me. It was clear that was me. Like, God had other plans, and if it wasn't for me changing the way I think, and like I said, the Bible says, lean not on your own understanding. If I think that applies in more than just one way. Like, if I'm trusting God and I'm truly saying I'm a believer and I'm trusting in God, I have to operate and move that exact same way. And it took doing that for this move to happen.
Yeah. We ain't gonna share too much.
Yeah.
Because
it can go
I
on,
truly believe
go on
that
too much.
we're gonna talk again and again and again and again. Y'all gonna see these faces somewhere bigger than where they are right now. And that's not sound arrogant at all. It's just my level of faith. But I'm gonna wrap it up around that, because there's so much more to come. We're just getting started. And for me to tap into more and more of things to come, into our story a little bit more, I think people just need to, pay attention. That want to pay attention. If you don't want to pay attention, who cares?
Yeah, right now we're in Delaware. Like I said, a year from now that'll change. We're gonna be not only in Delaware. Like a plan. Yeah, I was talking about never leaving Indiana. We plan on being there too as well. So, like I said, God's plan for us is
His
much
plan.
better. It's much better than the plan that we have for ourselves. So,
with that said, appreciate y'all for listening to the Let's Go Joe podcast.